Hello, my beautiful YouTube world and my TikTok world, because I'm probably uploading this on TikTok too. Thank you so much for checking in. Please leave me some comments and like and heart and whatnot. Follow, subscribe, do all those good things. Anyways, I'm doing this video today because it's been about 4 days since my step grandma passed away, my grandma Betty. And she'd been in my life for about 25, 26 years. And we're all pretty upset about it. It's a weird feeling because she was really old. She's like, yeah, she's a great grandma. She's great grandchildren. She was almost 100 years old. And for the last few months or so, she was hardly responsive. Like, she wouldn't really even talk to us. And before, she would call all the time. So it's been hard on my parents for quite some time, and hard on other family members. And I've been just sitting at my apartment waiting for my dad to come get me. I did some laundry today to get ready, but I need to have a really big funeral. She has like over 100 grandchildren. She had 8 kids of her own, one being my stepmom, who's the youngest. And even from my stepmom, she's a great grandma, because my nephew has a baby. So yeah, anyways, there's gonna be tons of people there, huge get together. The last time we had this many was when her husband passed away, Grandpa Don, and I was still in the military. It was probably 5 years ago, 6 years ago. I was still in the military, and he had been in the military too. He had worked on jet planes in Florida for, I think, the Air Force. I just think it's the Air Force because he worked on planes. He might have been Navy. I don't know. I was Navy. But yeah, we don't have a lot of military on that side of the family. For the most part, it's just Grandpa Don. But from my dad and from my birth mom, we have more military. So that's going to be interesting to put our military wife to rest, who had 8 children and now 100 grandkids. It's just a lot, and a lot of people, and a lot to talk about. She had quite a life. She when she was young, she had a job before she got married, because Grandpa Don went off for the service, and then he came back and they got married and had kids. And while he was gone, she worked at a soda fountain, like at a pharmacy, general store type place. I think she was in California. I'm not sure, but he was in Florida. Maybe she'd moved to Florida. Anywho, it was a Coke fountain, like an old Coca-Cola like soda machine. But back then, cocaine wasn't illegal, and they had it in the Coca-Cola. So she used to serve people a cocaine drink, which has always been so interesting to me. It's just always gotten me to look at her differently. Not like, I don't even know how to explain it. Almost like happy that she's like a more liberated person, if you want to call it liberated. But at the time, it was medicine, and she was serving them their medicine. But it's just cool to know that, like, she's cool. She's hip. And she went through a lot. Then it became illegal. Of course, she didn't work there anymore. She had kids. Lots of kids. And Grandpa Don was always doing things to try to make more money. He'd do things like try to invent stuff and buy stock and all kinds of things. And he kept working. Oh my gosh, my Grandpa Don, oh my God. He worked at In-N-Out Burger when they opened up In-N-Out Burger, and he was probably like 85 years old working at In-N-Out Burger to make more money. Good old grandparents. So now that she wasn't doing too well, she was in a home. Like I said, like, she wasn't responsive. It's like she wasn't even herself anymore. And it's just very strange to to need to like go home and to need to put her to rest, because it doesn't really feel real. Like even talking about her right now, it's like now she's more alive than she was 5 minutes ago. But I think she has a plot next to Grandpa Don. Strangely enough, it's down the street from their house. Like you could see the cemetery from the house, like from the front yard, you can see the cemetery. And I go for walks sometimes when I'm at home with my stepmom. I take the dogs for walks or whatnot. And the cemetery is really close. I think she's gonna have a plot right next to him. And my stepmom's the youngest of the babies, and they live down the street too. I used to be able to walk my dog, Mickey, to their house and go get cookies, and the dog would have a cookie too. We're probably going to do the same thing that we did with Grandpa John, where we have a big funeral at church where everybody like has a meal together, and then some of us go and do the burial. The burial's the tougher part. The funeral's kind of like a celebration of life, you know, like we're all at the church, like having a party or whatnot. It's a little bit more of what it's like. We're like celebrating all that she did during her time here. And then the burial part's gonna be really tough on everybody, because I think her plot's right next to Grandpa Don's. So it's gonna be like more real to everybody that they're both gone. It's really tough. It's interesting when you think that like you wouldn't be close to certain people, you know? Like they're my step grandparents, so it's not like they made me or anything, but my stepmom wanted more kids, and it's not that she didn't want to be my mom, and it's not that they didn't want to be my grandparents. So it's just really tough, because it's like I had extra grandparents, and they weren't the kind where like I couldn't go see them or check on them, and sometimes they'd just drop by. And my grandpa and grandma from my dad were like that too. They didn't live very far away, so sometimes they would just drop by, especially on Sundays when they'd come and go from church. And I used to see my grandparents at church. My step grandparents went to the same church as my dad and my stepmom. It's hard because it's not just like Thanksgiving and Christmas, you know, like they're part of every day. And it's been really tough on my mom and dad, because both their moms haven't been doing well and both their dads have passed away. It's been about 10 years since my Grandpa Wayne passed away, and about 5 since Grandpa Don. And then we still have Grandma Betty's funeral coming up in a few days, which they've been thinking, like we said for years, because she had dementia and whatnot, she's had to live in a home. So it's been one of those things where like she might pass. So now it's her time, and my parents are a mess over my other grandma also, because they just had somebody move in with her to help, just like they did with Grandma Betty, a nice woman from Fiji. She's Fijian, like she's new to America. And it's just really tough. My dad went and took her to the doctor the other day, and I haven't heard from him since, so he's probably just having a tough time, or he's busy with funeral stuff. And I'm just here waiting for it to be time to go home. And it was such a weird, like last month was so weird. I don't think I put it up here, but I was having like some weird like dreams and issues where I told one of my neighbor friends, Stephanie, I was like, there's like a dark presence, like I feel like I'm being like visited by like death or something. Those of you who are spiritual, it was like there was a death angel with me. And I was getting so disturbed and doing weird hours. Like I wanted to have a cigarette at 4 o'clock in the morning, or I couldn't sleep at all, or just weird stuff where I felt really out of control and really like frightened by death. I didn't think that I was going to die. I could tell it was like someone in my family, and it didn't even like, I was having really bad dreams, so I thought it was somebody else. But it's just really scary stuff. And then when I heard the news about Grandma Betty, it was like everything like started to make sense. Like it feels better. Like out of everyone who could have passed away, this is one where it's like, we're ready. You know what I mean? Like she's almost 100 years old. Of course, we'd like her to have lived longer. No one wanted her to pass away. It's just that it's like we've already started to let go, you know. It does concern me about my other grandma though. Like it's just kind of a weird feeling. And what if they were hanging on to each other and now that's what's left because their husbands had both passed. I kind of wish they had been in the home together. I was just looking at my nails, wondering if I should paint them. A lot of my black clothes aren't dirty, so I think I'm ready to just put things in a suitcase. I don't want to get ready before I need to go though. And yesterday I went to the hospital. I wasn't feeling well. I was really hot on my right side. I thought I might have an internal infection or something. And with my symptoms, they said, go to the emergency room. I went to the emergency room. We did all kinds of tests. You can probably tell from how I'm talking. I'm gonna say they were all negative. I'm fine. Blood tests and whatnot. But I was just really uncomfortable. Like I just felt sick and nauseous. Excuse me. And it's not any of that. So that's good news that I'm not ill and I'm cleared to go home, and I'm not gonna come home and be like, oh, they think I'm terribly ill, because that scared me. I also thought I might have to stay home because of being sick, or maybe even it being COVID, because it was like flu, but that's not what it is. Hopefully soon my parents come get me, maybe by Monday. They're probably concerned about the traffic also. I live in San Francisco and they live in Sonoma County. They live in Santa Rosa. It takes about 2.5 hours. But it's like the whole day, right? Like if he drives here for 3 hours, like say it takes 3 hours with traffic and then 3 hours back, 6 hours of driving. They also told me they have plans later this month. So they like wanted me to think about that, like how I'll get back. Anyways, well, that thinking got me to wander in thought and think about making plans. I'm probably gonna call my dad to try to figure it out. Anyways, thanks for listening, you guys, and I'm gonna upload soon. check out my TikTok. Soon I'll put up some things that are fun, like some TikToks with my cousins and whatnot. And I'll try to post on here again soon. Love you. Bye.